Good morning. I think this might be my first ever pop-up live. I thought I would just take you guys along. We're letting the dogs use the sniff spot now that our sniff spot guests have gone for the morning. So when we do our sniff spot, Cabo and Delilah get to be in the backyard, which is a treat for them since it's usually off limits. Oh, I should have turned that the other way. Is that going to orient? Yeah, let's try that. Okay. And ducks and geese are out, which is a treat. All of that is a treat for the dogs that visit, because a lot of them never see equines and farm type animals in their daily lives. So the dogs have already been here in the paddock for a little while. Now they're out on the back pasture. I see Richard on the other side of the pond. You guys can check with me and we'll see if there's water in the pond. I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi. Because the Wi-Fi out here on the pasture is not real strong. There's Boone. So far, Boone has not gotten into the pond to swim. He's not a fan of water. Our boy Cooper couldn't help himself. He had to get into any receptacle or body of water he encountered. There's our old girl Serena. She's got some pretty bad skin issues this year. Oh yeah, we got some water in the pond. It's still 6 or so feet deep, short of being full though, and that's probably a conservative estimate. And there's Bear. Bear, right now technically Bear is still just a foster dog, but I think he's going to stay here with us. I think he's going to join the family. He met the cats yesterday and he did so well. And today even they spent a little time nose to nose and took the baby gate down that was separating them. Serena's looking for poop to eat, y'all. Come on, Serena. Serena was a foster failure dog also. Sort of a similar thing, because she came to us. We fostered her for maybe a couple of weeks. She had just been spayed, so we wanted to be sure. Oh, she's got some poop. That she, oh no, honey, what is that? We wanted to be sure that, oh, honey, she got that and it has ants on it. We wanted to be sure that she was healed from her spay surgery. Come on, girl. Come on, come get a drink. Come get a drink of water. And then she was adopted, but she came back to us about a week after she was adopted. And they said she was tearing things up and getting on the counters. Nothing that we had seen here. So I don't know if she was just stressed and was acting out or what. But the policy with the rescue we work with is that if for any reason a family can't keep, scoot babies, the dog or whatever, the dog is not going to stay with them. They bring it back to us. So she came back, and Richard said right away, well, I think that's probably means that she's meant to stay with us. So she did. And that's about Bear. Come here, Bear. Come here, Bear. So Bear had boarded with us last week, and we didn't know, oops, I'm blocking myself. We didn't know at the time that his family was looking to rehome him. They already had this vacation plan. They had just adopted him about 6 weeks earlier. Boys. To say that they get excited about Cabo and Delilah would be an understatement. Come here, boys. Come here, boys. Come. Boone and Bear, come. Come. Good, come. So good. So good. Anyway, so long story short, they picked him up, sent us a text message to thank us again for boarding him, and then asked if we knew, which way is the camera here? Right here. If we knew of anyone who might be looking for a dog because he needed a new home. So, wow. So I contacted the rescue because he had not been listed with Good Shepherd Rescue yet. And I learned that they had talked with one of the rescue partners about releasing him to Good Shepherd so that he could be fostered and placed. And it was just a no-brainer. We said, well, he just needs to come back here then. Even if we're just going to foster him, he just needs to come back here. He had a great time here. He got along beautifully with all the animals. We even had other boarders for a while he was here. He's a great plug and play, mix and match kind of little dog. So he came back to us, and we talked it over, and the determining factor was going to be whether or not he could get along with the cats, because his previous family didn't know whether he could get along with cats because they don't have cats. And then his adoption or his shelter paperwork, they adopted him from the shelter during one of the big adoption event things that one of the local shelters puts on throughout the year off and on. And on that paperwork, it only said that he needed, what did I tell you it said? He needed too much attention. Yeah. Something sort of generic and very broad. And again, I don't see that. He's beautifully independent. He's 4 years old, so he's not a puppy. So it wasn't, like puppy energy so I don't know. Who knows what the story was? And it doesn't matter ultimately, because if that's not where he needed to be, then I'm thankful that he didn't stay there. And then the family that adopted him, great little family, but they had another dog that was about his same age, 4 or 5 years old. And they've had her since she was 8 weeks old, and she would not accept him. And so he spent all of his time in the 6 weeks or so that they had him just cowering and keeping to himself and wouldn't interact. And she was not real nice to him. So they knew that it was just not fair for him to be like that. And they felt like after, 6 weeks that was plenty of time to see whether or not it was really going to work. So again, he came in and had a great time boarding with us and playing with the dogs, and he's just a very, very precious boy. And so far what we're seeing with him around the cats, I'm not seeing anything that looks alarming or of concern. So I think he may just be staying here with us. And we were a 3 German Shepherd family for a long time. So it's not a stretch for us to consider bringing in another dog. We didn't think we were going to, but Boone certainly benefits from having a younger, healthy, playful dog, because Serena is she's just not there anymore. She's just not there anymore. She's my old girl. She's a sweet baby girl, but she can't really run and play, and she doesn't like to wrestle anymore like she used to. She was always the most puppyish of our pack, but she's just beyond that now. She's at least 10 years old. She was rescued as a full grown dog, so all we can do is guesstimate. She's a sweetheart. Anyway, it's a nice day here. We're expecting rain later tonight. Ironically, after going so long without rain, because we were at, I think, about 100 days without any rain at all before we got our first rain. Week before last, I guess it was Wednesday the 9th. If the 9th was a Wednesday, it was on the 9th. I just don't remember what day of the week that was for sure. And we did get a little bit of rain that day, not a whole lot, but enough to at least water the ground a little bit. And then a few nights ago, we had a storm come through and dumped pretty good bit of rain on us. It didn't last very long, but it rained pretty hard for just a little bit. Thunder and lightning, the whole works, which did not make Serena and Boone happy at all because they both get really anxious about storms. But we were grateful for the rain, and now I think it may have misted or sprinkled for just a little while, sometime between then and now. But starting tonight, we're expecting so much rain that there are flood warnings already for the area. So go figure. But we can't pick and choose. We'll be grateful for what we get, and maybe it'll still give the grass and the plants a little bit of time to perk up. Oh, look at that. She tried to play with him. Look at that. She tried to play with you, honey. That's different. Yeah, that's different. I think this dirt, this sand out here must make her skin feel better. So she can't help but roll around when she gets out here in the paddock. Let me see if I can see the chat. Oh, hey. Hey, Krubby. Hey, Dancing. I didn't know if anybody would be here this morning or not, but I figured I would just share our little time in the sniff spot. We do the sniff spot thing. If you've got some property and you can share it with dogs in your area, people, in a nutshell, people rent your yard by the hour or by the half hour, however you want to set it up, just to let their dogs come and run and roam and sniff and play and be off leash and not have to be mixing and mingling with other dogs at a dog park or someplace public. You can put as much work into it as you want. I mean, we have Cabo and Delilah, so we do, good morning, Southern Brothers. We do scoop poop before people come. I mean, poop needs to be scooped anyway, but sometimes we'll go a little longer between scoopings if there's nobody coming to use the property. And I mean, so far we're getting rave reviews. I think we have just such a perfect spot for this. There's about 1.25 acres that we open to our visitors. And again, a lot of the dogs that come, the dogs have never seen horses or geese, and so that's a treat, which then makes it a treat for their family, their human family. And in all the years we've been here, we've never had a dog get hurt hurt because they're goofing around or climbing through the bushes or whatever, but there's nothing dangerous here. And like the snakes and things we have, if you guys have seen many of our videos, those are snakes even that I handle. So we have not, in all our years here, we have not come across a venomous snake. And the little rat snakes and water snakes that I have to deal with every now and then, they don't have fangs even. So they can bite, but it's not much more than a little scrape when it happens. And this is me speaking from experience because I have been bitten. So if you've got some property and you look like or you think you might want to look into just making a little bit of money, we'll never make a lot of money off of it, but part of that is because don't have it open all day every day. We need to have access to it too so that our dogs can enjoy it. And during the middle of the day in the summer, there's not any shade in the backyard, and since that's where Cabo and Delilah stay during the day or during the sniff spot visits, we've had to cut out the block in the middle of the day. It's been too hot anyway, so before we blocked it off, there weren't very many people using that time of the day anyway because it was too hot. But now that it's cooler, because it's definitely cooler today, so I'm hoping that this storm system that's supposed to come through is going to drop the temperatures even more. Now that it's cooler, we've just blocked that off, so people have to get their sniffing done before, I think 10:30 is when I cut it off, and then there's no more sniffing until 6:30 in the evening if they want to book an evening session. That way Cabo and Delilah can have the pasture in the paddock, because we do have some trees and some shady spots for them. And they know the routine now, so they watch the dogs leave and they're at the gate ready to come back through and have their space again. So for this morning, and this is what we just try to do anyway, if everything is already set up for a sniff spot guest, then it's perfect for us to just let the dogs come and have their turn as soon as those people leave. Oh, but what I was saying is, if you're looking to maybe make a little bit of extra money and you've got even just a backyard, it doesn't have to be a big property, because a lot of people that visit, they live in apartments or condos, or they're on vacation with their dogs, and so they're staying in a hotel or a Airbnb or something maybe that doesn't have an ample yard. And so those people are telling us that this is perfect for them. We've got one family that makes trips, and they come all the way from Garland. I mean, that's got to be like an hour and 15, 20 minutes, I guess, depending on traffic. And they've got 6, how do you say that? Weimaraner? I'm sure you guys know what dogs I'm talking about. Those beautiful little gray dogs. They've got 6 of those. So they bring their guys, and they were here yesterday. And it's just gratifying for me, because when I see the dogs come in and instantly they're just so excited. Well, before they even get out of their cars, the people that came this morning, a British couple, and they've got 2 boxers. And she told me when I greeted her this morning that the dogs have figured out now where they're going when they head this way for their sniff spot. So they're excited, you know, when they get 10 minutes from the house, I guess they can figure out where they are just by the smells or something. Oh, we got someone jogging, and the dogs have to do their thing. It's okay. He's just jogging. Come here. Yeah, that's our high-tech security system right there. Anyway, so the lady told me that they were excited before they even got here because they realized where they were coming. This is probably their 4th visit today. So look into that. If you've got some space and you're willing to share it, again, you don't have to go to a lot of trouble. So if you don't have farm type animals to clean up after to make your space just a little more aesthetically pleasing, then don't. Just open up your yard. I do keep a bowl of water for our visiting dogs. And in the heat of the summer, I mean, I put a bottle in it this morning too, but in the heat of the summer, I have been putting a big frozen bottle of water in it, just so it won't get so hot, because it really was that hot here. This morning, I just put a smaller, regular water bottle size bottle of frozen water in it, just to keep it cool for the dogs while they were visiting. And I put out, so I go to a little more trouble. So I always have out, it was only the lady today. It wasn't her husband, but depending on how many humans are coming, I have this little tub thing with ice in it. And then I'll have a bottle of water for each human. And then I also put together little bags of dog treats, for the pups. So however many dogs, there'll be a little bundle of dog treats. We put a business card on it, and I tie it all up with a ribbon, and it's super cute. But you don't have to do that. There's a lot of people in the sniff spot community that, hey, Gloria, there's a lot of people in the sniff spot community that they just open the gate or unlock the gate. People let themselves in, and they just pay to, again, you're paying for the experience and the safe space for the dogs to run and be off leash and not deal with the hassles and the risks of dog parks, because those are really not, that's really not, it was a great idea. The concept is a great concept, but it's just so many things can go wrong. And we stopped going to dog parks a long time ago. I mean, we had this property, so we don't have to do it, but it just seemed to be a common issue that there were dog owners there that they weren't paying attention to their dogs, and they had dogs that did not have good manners, and that's no fun for the dog either. So this just solves that problem completely. And again, we're getting rave reviews, and this is not a fancy place. And I was kind of worried in the beginning that somebody would go out on the, hey Jesse, that somebody would go out on the back. Yeah, it's first time I've done a pop-up. That someone would go out on the back pasture and see some piles of horse poop and be turned off. But we had one person in a review make a comment along the lines of that we do a beautiful job of balancing. How did he say it? of keeping it tidy, but also letting it stay natural. And my first thought was, I bet he's referring to the places out on the back pasture that we didn't scoop. There's going to always be a few piles that we miss, or that Cabo and Delilah decide to leave behind just before we call them up to put them in the backyard. But in my listing, I mean, I describe, the animals that live here, and I don't think anybody comes expecting it to be, a posh, manicured lawn. But again, all kinds of stuff works. There are people in the Sniff Spot community that have swimming pools even, and you can pay extra to let your dog swim in the swimming pool. I don't know why that's so funny to me. I don't think I would want someone letting a dog swim in a swimming pool if I had a swimming pool. Just the risks of that, the liabilities of that. But the ones that do it, it works out great. And some people are willing to pay ridiculous amounts of money for that perk. So we're, again, we've got a pond on the back acre. And when the pond is full, lots of people, even that have told us their dogs don't really like to swim, will come back up and tell us, oh yeah, he got in the pond and he had the best time swimming around. It's been kind of gross for a while because it's been so dry that the water level is really low. And that just means that all the goop that's in the bottom of a pond, of a dirt pond, it doesn't have a nice thick layer of water to kind of hide it. So it was pretty sad there for a while. We keep the hose available so people can rinse the dogs off if they want to or need to after their visits. But for now, since we haven't had a pond for them to swim in, that tub right over there, I just have to guess when I'm doing the camera this way, but that black, I don't know what you call that kind of a tub. It's that kind of Rubbermaid type tub thing. And we keep water in it now, and a lot of the visiting dogs will get in that just for the sake of having something to splash around in and get wet and stay cool. And they like that too. So it can be super simple, or you can go all out and do lots of treats for pups and people. And one of the perks I've seen some of the people offer is a gotcha day or birthday party package. And again, some of these Sniff Spot hosts, they're charging like $250. That's an extra. So you still pay to rent the spot, but then you can pay for those extras. And I mean, it's very sweet. So they'll do a cake, and they do party hats for all the dogs, and treats and favors, and drinks and treats for the humans. So it's not like it's not a fair price, but I don't want to go to that much trouble either. I just know that if it was us and we needed a safe spot for our dogs to go and play because they were cooped up in a tiny yard or didn't have a yard, or we were traveling, and that this would be heaven. Oh my gosh, that this would be heaven. When we took the dogs camping with us, where was that? Y'all, Richard is here. You want to say hi, Richard?
Oh, hey.
We took the dogs camping with us one year, and I mean, we walked around, the campsite. We stayed in a cabin because they're not used to being outside, so we sure weren't going to make them stay in a tent with us, which is what we do when it's just the two of us. And so we went to a school, and we just let them run and play in the schoolyard, just because, again, there wasn't a place. This was long before Sniff Spot was even thought of. So there wasn't a place like this where we could go and just pay to, rent somebody's spot. And if you're wondering, so we charge $12 an hour to rent this spot. Most people don't even stay the whole hour, but we make them book a whole hour because there's too much logistically involved, even in just getting the horses moved into the backyard and, get their hay and a water bucket in there for them. That takes too long for it to make sense for it to be less than an hour at a time that people would be visiting. But it's $12 an hour for the first dog, and then there's always a discount, so it's half price then for every other dog beyond that first dog. So again, you'll never make a lot of, some people make a lot of money. There's one Sniff Spot person I know that makes, $25,000 or $30,000 a year doing Sniff Spot. But I don't think that person has dogs of her own. She doesn't have farm animals, anything like that. It's just a yard. It's not a pasture or anything that has to be scooped or tidied up before they come. So she's not having to really clean up anything. And if I remember right, she's older, you know, retired, so she can be around, I guess, if there's a need or something with one of her guests. And I think her sniff spot rents for like $15 an hour. So she just does it full time. So I guess sun up to sundown, that yard can be rented, and she's like earning a living, paying her bills that way. I just want to, again, make enough money somewhere that we don't worry about feeding all the animals. Thank you for not barking, boys. That's really nice. That's very nice. Good boy, Boone. Lay it down, taking it easy. So nice. It definitely looks like the weather is changing, y'all. That is a nice cloud cover there. A little bit of blue trying to peek in here and there. But I hope it's been a good Sunday morning for you guys. Just generally speaking already. Hey, Joe, how are you? Let's see. Hey, BS, how are you? Let me scan. Make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Hey, Warmstrong, how are you? This is sweet for you guys to come and hang out with me for a little while this morning. I haven't even had my breakfast yet. I was going to start breakfast and I cooked some sausage, and then when the dogs left, Richard said, hey, let's go take the dogs out to the sniff spot. So I just put that all on hold. I'll go in and have a brunch later, and then have to figure out what I'm going to do for lunch and dinner today. But yeah, if you're and now I'll just extend that invitation again. If you guys are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so this will be interesting. So as you can see, the boys are going crazy, but Delilah is not even phased. It doesn't even phase her. Boys, that is so rude. Hey, be polite, please. That is so rude. That is so rude. We are not going to be rude to her. No, sir. No, sir. She's ready to come into her yard. See? That's how she's asking. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. Come here, honey girl. Come here, honey girl. Oh, she's ready to come through the gate. All right, so that's my cue. We're going to wrap it up. Again, make it a great Sunday. I hope, again, if you're still needing rain, you're going to get some rain. And look into Sniff Spot. If you got some space to share, look into it. You might enjoy it too. All right. Love to everybody from Rich Cat Ranch. And we will see you all soon. Take care.